Corpus Christi has downgraded its water restrictions to Stage 1. A judge in Brownsville has denied a request by the state of Minnesota to keep an ICE agent in jail. And a Corpus Christi teacher has been named a finalist for a state honor. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Thank you for joining me. It's Thursday, August 27th. The city of Corpus Christi has eased its water restrictions to Stage 1 for the first time in about 2.5 years. Earlier this week, water officials stated that the combined capacity of Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon reservoirs was at more than 40%, which allows for the eased restrictions per the city's drought contingency plan. The city had previously downgraded restrictions to Stage 2 earlier this month after state floodwaters boosted Lake Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi was last under Stage 1 water restrictions in March 2024. The eased restrictions will permit residents to lawn watering and landscaping once a week. A judge in Brownsville has denied a request by the state of Minnesota to keep an immigration and customs enforcement agent in jail, pending a ruling on his extradition to Minnesota to face charges related to the shooting of a Venezuelan immigrant. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider reports.
Christian Castro faces 4 counts of assault and 1 count of falsely reporting a crime in Minnesota related to his alleged shooting of Julio Sosa Solis in Minneapolis in January. Castro is currently being held in jail in Cameron County, but he is due to be released Thursday. Minnesota had sought an order to keep Castro in jail, warning he might flee to Mexico if released. The state also sought an order to force Governor Greg Abbott to sign an extradition warrant for Castro. Abbott said Texas officials are still investigating whether Castro is a fugitive or was simply reassigned to Texas by ICE. Judge Fernando Rodriguez Jr. ruled that Abbott has not definitively refused to extradite Castro, and that while Castro might flee, that would not pose irreparable injury to Minnesota's efforts to prosecute him. I'm Andrew Schneider, News 88.7.
A Corpus Christi teacher has been named a state finalist for a Teacher of the Year recognition. The Texas Association of School Administrators named Denise Caldera as one of 3 finalists for the 2027 Texas Elementary Teacher of the Year. The winner will be announced on October 16th. Caldera is a kindergarten bilingual teacher at Galvan Elementary in the Corpus Christi Independent School District. She was recently named Corpus Christi ISD's 2026 Teacher of the Year. San Perlita Independent School District reopened its campuses today after a 2-day closure caused by a reported surge in COVID-19 and other illnesses. Valley Central News reports that the district temporarily closed schools for 2 days this week as a precaution. This allowed maintenance and custodial crews to clean and disinfect parts of the campuses. School officials did not provide a specific number of how many students or staff became ill. The Texas Education Agency showed that enrollment for the 2025-26 school year was about 175 students. 25 News Now reports that Victoria County election officials want to increase voter turnout. With the 1776 initiative, officials will place voter education and registration information at locations throughout the county during the week of September 14th. Along with the gesture to America's 250th birthday, the initiative is in conjunction with National Voter Registration Day. A coalition of national and Texas civil rights groups are hoping a petition in a federal appeals court will allow them to defend the Texas Dream Act. KERA's Priscilla Rice reports Texas last year agreed to end the decades-old law allowing some students without legal status to pay in-state tuition.
Last month, the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected an appeal that sought to restore the Texas Dream Act. But a petition filed this week by various groups, including the Texas Civil Rights Project, asked the appeals court to reconsider that divided panel decision. The petition was filed on behalf of La Unión del Pueblo Entero, the Austin Community College District's Board of Trustees, and graduate student Oscar Silva. According to the Higher Education Immigration Portal, at least 2,000 students without legal status graduate from Texas high schools each year. I'm Priscilla Rice in Dallas.
A massive foodborne illness outbreak linked to imported lettuce is raising questions about the impact of cuts to federal health agencies on the nation's ability to detect and contain contaminated food. More than 10,000 people in 17 states have been infected with cyclospora, with more than 450 hospitalizations and at least 2 deaths. The outbreak has been linked to iceberg lettuce sourced from central Mexico and recalled by Taylor Farms de Mexico. The outbreak comes amid cuts to federal health agencies, including the FDA and CDC, raising concerns about the government's capacity to track foodborne illness. A separate salmonella outbreak linked to jalapeno peppers from Mexico has sickened more than 400 people across 32 states. Rising food costs are hitting some of the most vulnerable Texans, including seniors living on fixed incomes. Feeding Texas has seen more seniors turning to food assistance as grocery prices take a larger bite out of household budgets. Celia Cole is the organization's CEO. On Texas Public Radio's The Source, she talked about how seniors often have little ability to increase their income when the cost of food rises.
We definitely see more seniors in our lines, and the just terrible choices it can mean if you don't have enough resources for food.
Cole said food insecurity can force seniors to make difficult decisions, including choosing between food and medicine. The latest figures from Feeding Texas show food insecurity among seniors in Texas increased from 13.6% to 15.1% between 2025 to 2026. And a recent CDC report found cases of high blood pressure in pregnant women rose 73% overall nationally between 2016 to 2024. High blood pressure is associated with serious complications for both mother and baby, but the CDC report does not specify a case. KERA's Sam Baker talked about this report with Dr. Mark Wilson, an OBGYN at Texas Health Denton, who had some thoughts of his own about possible causes.
It has to be something environmental, something external. Some doctors are hypothesizing that it could be microplastics, which can be chemicals in plastics that we're exposed to, everything from our detergents to things that we drink, the processed foods potentially out there. And also, too, we are having a lot of women that are delaying having pregnancies, and so you have an advanced maternal age factor, and also reproductive endocrinology, meaning we have a lot of patients that are having in vitro pregnancies, in vitro fertilization, and that has also been associated with having hypertensive disorders during pregnancy.
Who's most at risk for high blood pressure during pregnancy?
Certainly the extremes of ages. So when you have someone who's very young, like a teenage pregnancy, 16, 17-year-old, all the way to the other extreme of a patient that's over 35. If you have a previous history of chronic hypertension, that patient is extremely at risk for having preeclampsia and the hypertensive conditions that we tend to see that are affecting pregnancy. Patients that have multiple gestations, so if you have twins, that can certainly be a risk factor. Women that are overweight with an elevated BMI, they're at risk for hypertensive issues during pregnancy, and also women during their first pregnancy. So whether you're Black, white, Hispanic, if it's your first pregnancy, those patients are at risk. And then the last thing I could think about is women that have diabetes or chronic conditions like kidney disease or autoimmune conditions like, say, lupus. Those patients are certainly at a higher risk for developing hypertensive issues during pregnancy.
So what warning signs would you say expectant mothers should never ignore?
Many times they don't have any symptoms. I remember I had a patient who really felt fine, and she came in during her prenatal appointment, and her blood pressure is 180 over 100. And, normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. But if you think about actual symptoms that people can perceive, one would be a persistent headache. Anytime that blood pressure is extremely high, they can have a very consistent and persistent headache. Other times they can have visual changes like blurred vision and also seeing spots. Many times, too, we can see swelling in the face and the hands. Some of the patients can get right upper quadrant pain because with this whole disease process, they can have an injury to the liver, and it can cause pain in their right upper quadrant where the liver is located. And then also if they have any swelling, severe or quick weight gain, that can be one of the signs, and also shortness of breath.
What steps can or should women take before and during pregnancy to help reduce risk of high blood pressure?
Having patients first see their doctor before they even get pregnant, and then the doctor can go over a health plan for them with respect to having a healthy weight and also taking their medications as directed, doing things like increasing hydration, exercise, making sure that they promote a healthy lifestyle. You want to make sure they are going to all their prenatal visits, and during those visits, they're having their blood pressure taken, and just doing those little simple things. And ultimately, that will lead to a positive outcome with respect to their pregnancy.
During pregnancy, if high blood pressure comes along, can it be treated?
Yes, it can. And a patient who has blood pressure issues before 20 weeks, we can get those patients on medication. Also impacted this whole process, Sam, is the use of a low-dose aspirin. That's had a significant decrease in the reduction of hypertensive conditions during pregnancy. And then once a patient, if she's beyond 20 weeks and you have blood pressure issues, many times then we can start them on an antihypertensive medication that's safe to take during pregnancy. Other treatment options that we cut back on their work and getting off their feet, modified bed rest, and certainly decreasing their salt intake and increasing their hydration.
Dr. Mark Wilson is an OBGYN at Texas Health Denton. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp, your community arts calendar, and more is on the way.